Ten,
Standby to take studio.
7, 6,
Standby
5,
camera 1, mics 1 and 2.
3, 2, 1.
Take studio.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of MCTV News. I'm your host, Avery Pelletier.
And I'm Lyle Cambell. On today's show, Brianna Farough brings us the details on a wellness survey recently conducted at MCHS. Elizabeth Nelson takes us on an inside look on the French Immersion program offered at our school. Sophia Chvojka caught all the action at the FRHC Spartans hockey game, and Weston Stevenson served up a report on the local restaurant Bistro di Madre Piccola. But first, here's our top story.
On February 23rd, students from across 3 local school districts gathered at the MCCC for the Horizons Leadership Conference, hosted by MCHS. The event was organized with the help of our student council and included presentations from various speakers on teamwork, inclusion, and leadership. Boissonneault brings us this report.
On February 23, 2024, MCHS Student Council partnered with the Canadian Student Leadership Association, a national organization that puts together provincial and national one-day and multi-day conferences.
It's a one-day conference held in conjunction with Canadian Student Leadership Association, CSLA. They are a national organization that puts on all kinds of student leadership conferences. We were asked to be a host school for just the one-day conference.
It really was up to us to come up with our themes and our games. It very much was a collaborative team effort.
So I'm here at the Horizons event to be speaking to the students about making smart choices.
I'm here as part of today's Horizons Student Leadership Conference that the school's holding. So I sort of have a bit of a dual role. I'm here representing the Canadian Student Leadership Association, and then I'm also one of the keynote speakers and presenters.
185 students in total came, 10 being MCHS students attending as delegates, 175 being from 10 different schools, all from 3 separate school districts: Greater St. Albert School District, Evergreen School District, and Sturgeon Public Schools, along with 16 student leaders from MCHS's very own student council, helping organize and lead the conference.
The students that came to the conference were younger kids going into high school, most of them. I think it's really important that they develop those leadership skills so when they go into high school and their life beyond, they can be leaders in their school and their community.
My message is sort of built around how we can make our schools a place where everyone belongs. So I sort of talk about the importance of belonging and why that's sort of a fundamental human need, why it's significantly important to young people especially, and then what as students we can do to help make our schools a place where everyone belongs, since it's such a universal feeling that that we all long for.
So today I'm speaking about wise decision making. A lot of the times we're just going through life, reacting with our emotions. We don't actually take the time to stop and think, if the next step is wise, should I be doing this? For me, one small little decision almost cost me my life, cost me my hand. And just being able to tell the kids, you are in control of your decisions and your thoughts. And if you can control that, life is going to be awesome for you.
Overall, the conference went smoothly, with the 2 speakers in the morning and then a Subway lunch, followed with games in the gym. It was a success. MCHS's student council, organizers, and participants should be much appreciated for their hard work and dedication put into this day. Boissonneault reporting for MCTV News.
If you were getting a little used to some of the warmer weather we've been having recently, the winter wonderland we woke up to this morning was likely a source of disappointment. So if you're hoping for t-shirt weather that's here to stay, you'll have to hold out a little longer. The bearer of bad news, here's our meteorologist, Bree Farough.
Thanks, Lyle. Let's take a look at our national forecast. So up in Whitehorse, we've got partly cloudy with a -6. Yellowknife is sitting at -25 with partly clouds. Vancouver is -8 with rain. Regina is -8 with mostly clouds, partly cloudy, sun and clouds. Winnipeg is at -13 with sun and clouds. Toronto is sitting at 0 with mostly clouds. Montreal is sitting at -2. with mostly clouds. Halifax is going to sit at 6 degrees with mostly clouds. St. John's is going to be sitting at 2 with mostly clouds. And Piccola is going to be at -14 with snow. Let's take a look at our provincial forecast. So up in high level, we've got -17 degrees with sun and clouds. Fort McMurray is sunny with -15 degrees. Grand Prairie is going to be snowy with -7. Edmonton is going to be snowy with -7 again. Jasper is going to be -2 with snowy. Red Deer is going to be snowy with -6. Banff and Calgary are both snowy with -4 and -8 respectively. And Medicine Hat is going to be sitting at snow and clouds with -5. Let's take a look at our current conditions. All right, so our current conditions, we're currently sitting at 0 degrees Celsius with snow. Wind is going to be 17 kilometers an hour east. Relative humidity is about 82%. Sunrise was at 7:35 this morning, and sunset is going to be at 7:48 p.m. Let's take a look at our weekly forecast. So Thursday is going to be snow with -6 and a low of -15. Friday is going to be a high of -5 with sun and clouds. Saturday is going to be -3 with sun and clouds. Sunday is going to be -3 with clouds. Monday is going to be -3 with sun. It's partly cloudy the rest of the week with 0 and 3 degrees. Back to you, Lyle.
Thanks. We've been working very hard this week because up next, she'll be bringing us the report on the mental health and wellness survey recently conducted at MCHS. The goal of this anonymous online survey was to assess the general mental health of well-being of students at our school and the ways in which they seek support inside and outside of the building.
A new term can often be overwhelming for some students. With the rush of new classes and peers, the staff of MCHS want to make sure students know about the resources that are available to them if they're struggling. G Sacred Voice representative Marina Cassavin issued a wellness survey on the first day of classes, trying to get a better understanding on the mental well-being of students and their needs.
We're just kind of trying to get a really good sense of what the students' current well-being is. It's really hard to kind of get an idea of how everyone's actually doing unless you ask them. So we just thought this was a really good way to kind of see what are the current needs of our students, how are our students actually feeling right now, and to be able to see all that data really clearly to us rather than just me and Mrs. Connell, we often see students who are struggling right now, but we don't know if that is that's not every student.
Despite a slow response to the survey, results showed that many students are satisfied with the care and support that MCHS offers, while also wishing for more awareness and clear promotion of resources and how to find them. Some of the students are concerned that information such as how to contact the school counselor aren't always in plain sight, and some are hesitant to try and speak to student services in person.
When seeing stuff about mental health, you really have to look for it. I don't see it completely out in the open.
I actually think that what we have right now in the school is pretty all right. Better than all right. It's really good, and so I don't know if we really need to add anything else because we do have a lot of help outlets, so I think it's pretty good.
Mental wellness has a heavy impact on both students and staff, especially in terms of education. MCHS recognizes this importance and understands that without a safe and supportive environment, it can be hard to stay on track with the daily demands.
If someone isn't doing mentally well, then it has a huge effect on their grade, their social life.
For myself, it kind of gives me a good idea of where do I need to focus things like my lessons and my promotion. I make posters, I make displays, so it kind of gives me an idea of if students are struggling with a particular thing such as depression, anxiety, then I'm then maybe I need to make more content around that. Maybe I need to teach in more classes about those things or let students know that I can support them with those things. As well, it kind of is a good way for us to connect students with the counselor when they might be really nervous to do so. We had a question being do you want a counselor check-in? Some students don't know where to find Mrs. Connell. Some people have never met her, and it can be really daunting going to go talk to her. So having that opportunity of yes, I would love if she checked in on me. It also informs our counselors who are the kids that might be really needing this, even if it's just for 1 or 2 talks.
MCHS in the G Sacred District values the health and wellness of its students and staff above all, and no concern is ever too small to bring to attention. Marina and school counselor Miss Connell's doors and emails are always open to students seeking guidance or even just a safe place to talk. For MCTV News, this is Brianna Farough.
Here are your school announcements for Wednesday, March 20th. Interested in going on MCHS's 30th annual bike trip? The Roger Champagne Memorial Bike Trip is back this May, giving students grade 9 through 12 the chance to cycle through the Rockies from Lake Louise to Jasper. If you're interested, you'll need to attend an important informational meeting this Thursday at lunch in the Fashions Room. Please contact Mr. Baudestein or Mrs. King with any questions. And while if biking's not your style, maybe badminton is. Tryouts continue this afternoon for the grade 9 boys badminton team from 3 o'clock to 4:15. Good luck to all those trying out. See Mr. Baudouin if you have any questions. World Down Syndrome Day is tomorrow. The RISE class will be holding a bake sale at lunch to raise funds for the Special Olympics Alberta. Cookies are on sale for $1 and popcorn for $3. In addition, make sure to show your support by rocking mismatched and colorful socks. Coffee house auditions take place today after school. If you have a talent you'd like to showcase to the community, sign up for auditions by scanning the QR codes on the coffee house posters around the school or get in touch with Mr. Pete. Course selection forms must be filled out and turned into the office as soon as possible. If you will be returning to MCHS next year, act fast, as option classes are filled on a first-come, first-served basis. In addition to your physical form, your parent or guardian must fill out the online form on the PowerSchool Parent Portal in order for your registration to be complete. Attention grade 12s. Permission forms for the grad retreat are available in Student Services now. If you are interested in attending, please get your form in as soon as possible, as if less than 20 are returned by the end of the week, the trip may be canceled. For these and all other school information, keep connected by listening to the daily announcements, logging on to the school's website at www.mchs.gsacred.ab.ca, or by following the school on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram.
MCHS long been home to a thriving French immersion program, which allows grade 9 students to take all their core courses in French, and for high school students to take their humanitarians in French. There are many reasons students choose to continue pursuing their French education, affirming their identity as Francophone individuals, to taking advantage of the opportunities being bilingual, provides Elizabeth Nelson brings us the inside look.
At Morinville Community High School, there are countless unique and diverse programs, but there's no program like the French Immersion program. Many staff and students highlight some of the opportunities that have been offered to them and how they have benefited from them within their participation in the program.
I think it's just really great for opening up as many possibilities in your future. So in terms of job opportunities, school opportunities, it really opens up the doors for whatever you want to do in life.
Whether it be the full immersive French Immersion 9 program, the FSL 9 option, or Études Sociales and FLA 10, 20, 30 courses, there's a place for everyone to learn at MCHS. Moreover, the students and teachers within the French program are constantly working towards bettering their French skills. MCHS commemorates this effort of their French immersion students and teachers as both groups feel a sense of belonging at MCHS.
It's affirmed my identity as a Canadian because a big part of Canada's culture and history is French. It makes me feel more Canadian, and the fact that I'm Francophone, it makes me really proud of my culture, and it makes me feel like I'm part of a group here.
I think it's a good thing to be able to connect with people over something that's shared like that. So I would say it has enriched my identity to some extent, yeah.
I'm not Francophone. I don't come from that background that has those roots, but because I've learned the language and I've spent the time learning the culture, I do feel accepted. Things like Carnival and those other Francophone events that you can go to, I do feel welcomed when I go because I know this language.
Alongside having such a diverse minority program within an English-based school, there are certain French cultural representations. These French representations are present in a variety of places, such as celebrations and through students and teachers speaking the language outside of the classroom.
I think our French culture is represented in the school through our teachers. A big one is through our teachers. I mean, myself, Mr. Baudouin, Mr. Lessard. If you catch us in the hallway, we're always speaking French with each other. We try and be the best models that we can for all of our students.
I would like to see kids kind of embrace it more and try and speak French more in class. I find that, the immersion students, we have to really kind of convince that this is good for them. However, that being said, we do have French prayers at some of our celebrations and stuff. I think we could have more of a presence in the school, but it is good, and I think it's something that we can continue to foster.
It's just such a beautiful language. It's just so fun to communicate in another language. It really actually helps your cognitive abilities as well, because you're constantly transferring information from 2 different languages. So it's like your brain is working even harder than it would if it was only working in one language.
Bilingualism is a skill possessed by the select few, but it is cherished and admired by its fluent speakers. At MCHS, the French program continues to survive amongst its English population and plans to grow with its future students. This is Elizabeth Nelson reporting for MCTV News.
Recent sports updates, including the results of the first few NHL playoff games, as well as MLB and NBA briefs, is our very own sports reporter, Bree Farough.
Thanks, Lyle. In the NHL, a good night for Western Canada as the Edmonton Oilers beat out the Montreal Canadiens 3-2 in overtime. The Vancouver Canucks scraped by the Buffalo Sabres 3-2, and the Winnipeg Jets doubled the New York Rangers 4-2. The Boston Bruins tripled the Ottawa Senators 2-6, and farther south, the Tampa Bay Lightning knocked out the Vegas Golden Knights 5-3. In the NBA, the Orlando Magic beat the Charlotte Hornets 112-92. The Houston Rockets kept their 6-win streak by beating the Washington Wizards 137-114. The New Orleans Pelicans crushed the Brooklyn Nets 104-91. The San Antonio Spurs were defeated by the Dallas Mavericks 107-113, and the Denver Nuggets barely slipped by the Minnesota Timberwolves 115-112. In the MLB, spring training goes on with the Baltimore Orioles beating the Toronto Blue Jays 13-8. The Kansas City Royals were just outdone by the San Francisco Giants 8-9. Philadelphia and Detroit both walked away tied at 0, as well as Cleveland Guardians and Colorado Rockies tying out at 8 each, and the Los Angeles Angels almost doubled the Cincinnati Reds 10-6. On the topic of sports, an expose on the new Youth Hockey League here in our own community brought to us by our very own Sophia Chvojka, as she introduces us to the core members of the team and the values they hope to instill in their players.
The FRHC Spartans are an exciting new hockey organization recently added to the Premier Hockey League. With enthusiastic coaches, dedicated players, and many opportunities for group and personal development, the Spartans support teams from U11 to U18.
The Spartans are an independent hockey team away from Hockey Canada. We wanted to increase skill development of the players by giving them more time on the ice, as well as mindset training, drug and alcohol awareness, stuff that doesn't get taught in schools for the older kids, and just trying to make better people, not just hockey players.
We're veterans. Started it because hockey was lacking some direction, and we're trying to instill good human values in people as opposed to just hockey values.
Hockey is an extremely competitive sport that offers many team options and different training ideas. But for the Spartans families, this organization was a clear choice.
I wanted to play for a competitive team with good players and coaches that could elevate my game.
I thought it'd be a really good opportunity for development, and the coaches are really better from the ones I had last year.
The kids here are amazing, coaches are amazing, and really just, it's a great atmosphere everywhere.
I have no bad things to say about any of my kids. They're a very close bunch, and they have each other's back, and they really enjoy each other's company.
Along with encouraging player growth and connections, the Spartans follow a motto that encapsulates their beliefs.
Team motto is respect, buy-in, and believe. We hold our players accountable for everything they do.
Respect is about respecting your opponent, respecting yourself, respecting your team.
Respect teammates, officials, coaches, and the fans.
The next view, buy-in. You have to buy into the team, buy into the program, because nothing will be good if you don't buy in.
And believe in yourself and believe in your teammates.
The Spartans believe that it's their duty to raise awareness and take part in many initiatives. They continue to educate their players and ensure that they're a positive influence on their communities.
Every year, the organization will create a special jersey for the team to wear.
Last year we did Remembrance Day because we're veterans. You know, I've got 9 buddies that I wear on my arm.
This year we decided to do a cancer jersey.
February is Cancer Awareness Month, and cancer has touched all of us.
The gold ribbon on the jersey is for kids that have had cancer and have passed away from cancer, and our team has been affected by cancer a lot, so the jersey means a lot to us.
The Spartans work extremely hard to succeed in their games, but they also foster a community of kindness, understanding, and positivity that convinces many players to come back year after year. For MCTV News, Sophia Chvojka reporting.
Welcome back. MCHS has a long legacy of sending students to compete in the Skills Alberta and Skills Canada competitions, and many success stories from these years spent competing. At Skills, students from across the province and country compete against each other in one of 32 categories related to the skilled trades. From culinary arts to cabinet making, MCHS students are guided on their path to competition by our CTS teachers. One of these teachers is construction instructor Mr. Coxen, who happens to be a former skills competitor himself. Thanks for coming in today, Mr. Coxen.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, so my first question I wanted to ask you today is just how long have you been involved with skills? And that can include coaching and, your time as a competitor.
Yeah, so as a coach, I've been involved actually ever since my first year of teaching. So that would have been 2009, 2010. I sent 2 students to the Northwest Regional Competition. Yeah. We had no idea what we were doing. We went, we had fun, and we came back with absolutely nothing but our projects that we made. But we had a great time, and that was kind of the start of me as a coach. Competing, it was when I was in high school, so I would have competed in grade 11 and 12, so that's probably 2003 and 2004. And I went and competed at the Provincial cabinet making competition twice. Nice. Yeah, so it's been a while.
So I guess you said the first year, you guys didn't end up coming back with anything really, but if you look at our little Skills Hall of Fame now, you can definitely see MCHS has been on kind of a winning streak in a couple of categories recently. So are there any, skills success stories that really stand out to you?
Yeah, no, we've been, we're quite competitive now for a school our size in the province. Mrs. Receiver and her IT office software program, it's pretty consistent with them. Like we send a kid, they earn a medal. It's pretty common for the last 4 or 5 years that's what happens. Some other success stories is what's really exciting is our culinary students. They're starting to pick it up and be competitive as well. So we had a student last year earn gold at Provincials in the junior high competition. She's actually training right now as we speak. I just went in and checked in with her and was seeing how she was doing, and yeah, she's excited again to go and compete again. And yeah, TV video, it's always been big. It's been big since the school started competing at Skills, and every year we may not be in the mix or on the podium, but we're always in the mix. We're always in there, we're competitive. And last year we were close. Who knows, this year we could move up even further, which would be good. Yeah. And then yeah, cabinet making too. I try to pick some good strong students and hopefully they do well again this year as well.
Yeah, so speaking of your cabinet making students, how many students this year are you personally kind of coaching, and in which categories? Yeah,
so this year I've only got 2 students. They're both in the cabinet making competition, so they'll be competing against each other. And yeah, so this year it's regionals in a few weeks. They're going to build a little wall cabinet. And then if they do qualify for provincials, which we've already started training for, they'll be going and working on a little nightstand type table. Yeah.
So then what's the training process sort of like for preparing them for these competitions?
When I train my students, I try to kind of tailor it around them. So I focus on the areas where maybe they haven't learned that skill before, and then I hyper-focus on those so that they get that developed and practice it as much as they can. But really the training, a lot of it's involved. It takes place in my class. So I'll go in and I'll check in with them throughout my class every day, which is nice because I get to see them every day. And then it's up to the student. I like to go and do weekend dry runs, I call them. And that's where I go and I simulate the competition as best I can on a Saturday. And we go through and we do the project start to finish. And I found the last few years when I've been doing this, I found it's really helped because it gets them in that mindset. It also gets them with a little bit of that pressure that they'll be experiencing on the day of. So we do that, and then, yeah, it's really up to the student. If they want to train more after school, I can help them out with that. Sometimes they like to take their tools home and practice at home, and I'm game for all of that.
Nice. So yeah, it sounds like it's kind of a mix of, you helping and guiding them, and also that kind of self-driven thing.
Yes, it's very important that they're self-driven.
Yeah. And so what then would you say are sort of, besides just developing skills and obviously learning more about kind of whatever competition category they're going to compete in, what are some of the sort of future opportunities that can come from competing in skills, in terms of jobs and careers?
Yeah, and that's what you're talking about now. That's how I usually sell it to the students. So if you're a skills kid, it doesn't matter which competition. I always recommend that the students put that on their resume, no matter how well they did or if they went in and flunked out like my kids did that first year. Because if you're a skills kid and you've been there and done that, what it says to future employers is that you're a highly motivated, driven, motivated student. You're good at what you do. And even though you're not necessarily going and applying for a job in your skills area, those skills are all transferable across any job that you apply for. So it would be transferable to anything. If you do want to go and get involved in your area, it really helps as well. I've had kids go and they compete, and on their way out of the competition at the end, there's people handing them business cards saying, give me a call and I want to offer you a job, right? Do they necessarily take them up on that? Well, sometimes they do. But if you want to go and guarantee yourself a job, go and be a skills champion. That's a really good way to get a job. Yeah.
Well, then you heard it here. If you're not convinced about maybe ever competing in skills, it sounds like, there's a lot of opportunity, and it just seems like all around a great thing to be involved in. So thank you so much for coming and talking to us about
You're
this,
welcome.
Mr.
Thank you.
Coxen. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If you've ever walked or driven along Morinville's Main Street, you've most likely noticed the presence of local restaurant Bistro de Madre Piccola. The Bistro has been serving up freshly made breakfast, lunch, and dinner to Morinville residents since its opening 13 years ago. Reporter Weston Stevenson had the chance to explore just what makes this spot a go-to for so many customers, and he tells us in this piece.
In the town of Morinville, there is a restaurant called Bistro de Piccola de Madre, owned by Pelletier. A fair amount of people in the town of Morinville know about it, and today is one of the busiest days of the year, Valentine's Day, and some of the customers were kind enough to allow me to ask them some questions. Is this your first time here, and what were your first impressions?
So this was actually my first time here. We were looking for somewhere to go for Valentine's Day, and we seen they had the preset menu, and it was phenomenal. Actually, it was a great experience.
This is not my first time. My first impression when I first came here was this was a diamond in the rough, a hidden jewel.
I've been here a few times for a nice meal. I think it's a really nice restaurant, and it's really great to have something like this in Morinville.
How did you find out about this place?
Actually, we were just looking online for a restaurant for Valentine's Day and came across them on the Facebook page. Seen they had these preset menus. They usually do them for special occasions, so then we decided to just come and try it out.
We drove by it a few times, and my sister said it was a nice place to come and eat, and we came here one day and we enjoyed it.
Owner Pelletier was kind enough to allow me to ask him a few questions. How long has this restaurant been open?
So this location started in 2013. So it's been 10 years now.
Have you always had an interest in cooking?
My first job was cooking, and then, I always work in the hotel industry.
What has been your biggest hardship in the years this restaurant has been open?
Little difficulties, which is, the rising food cost, and then being in a little town, to get more turnover. So that is my biggest thing. Otherwise, we are doing great.
What is the busiest time of year to cook?
So our restaurant, normally it's during a Christmas season. So end of the years, between November to January. So that is my busiest period.
What is it like cooking on those busier days?
Yeah, so cooking on the busiest days are very, very challenging. But we know we always do special menus for Valentine's and then all these days. So, we keep everything prepared before we start the service. So that way, it take out our difficulties. So, yeah.
In conclusion, the consensus between customers of Bistro de Pico de Madre seem very high, and the staff here seem well experienced. So anyways, this is Weston Stevenson for MCTV signing off.
And that's it for another episode of MCTV News. Join us for our next episode where we will be bringing you stories on face-to-face ministries, Skills Alberta prep, parent-teacher interviews, and an expose on our Vice Principal, Mr. Baudouin, as well as your weekly weather update and sports recap.
So, what are you doing on spring break?
I didn't have any particular plans, but now that I think about it, I think I might try to go see my friend who lives in Edmonton, because I don't get to see her too often.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, what about you?
I might go to British Columbia to see my cousins. I just saw them yesterday, but it's good to see them.
Yeah, that'll be a great time.
From all of us at MCTV News, I'm Lyle Campbell.
And I'm Avery Pelletier. Thanks for tuning in.